So today I thought I could collect my pastel purples and we could look at them compared to each other. So I have them laid out from most cool to most warm. So the first one in this lineup is Lunar Tides in the color Amethyst. The second one is Directions in the color Lavender. The third one is Arctic Fox Girls Night. And I actually will say originally I had Girls Night flip-flopped with the Lavender. In person, I actually see a little bit more warmth in the Directions. But I do kind of think that both of these colors are pastel purples that can kind of change just ever so slightly depending on the lighting you're in. Usually in more shadowed lighting, they'll look a little bit more cool, and in more direct lighting, you'll see a little bit more of that warmth. But because my camera was picking up more coolness in the lavender, I ended up putting it in the second spot. The fourth spot is Good Die Young in the color Stoned Pony. And the last one is Manic Panic in the color Mystic Heather. I'm sure there's a bazillion other pastel purples out there that I haven't done yet, so in the future I will definitely redo any of my comparison videos as I get more in my collection, but it's kind of nice to see what I have currently. So I don't want to give a ton of advice because it's not like I have a ton of experience myself, but I will say pastels in general can be kind of hard to work with unless you know your hair's porosity and how the undertone will interact with the color of your hair already. So I do want to give a little bit of a warning that oftentimes when you bleach your hair, it will turn yellow. Some people's hair will turn more yellow than others, but yellow and purple are across from each other on the color wheel. So depending on the shade of purple you use, you can sometimes cancel each other out, which means you'll kind of lose that purple color when you're putting it over yellowish hair. So you really need very, very light and very neutral, cool hair to get a proper pastel, which can be very difficult for some people's hair. And if you are someone looking for a toner, one mistake that I would always make is I didn't understand that there were different undertones when I was younger. So I would buy a warm undertone purple, and I usually would put a lot of diluter in it and then try and use it as a toner over my blonde hair. And oftentimes it just would not work out properly. And again, that's because I was using warm undertoned purples. They just leaned a little bit too pinky, so they weren't really canceling any of the yellow out. So when it comes to toning, I would lean for something a little bit cooler. So in this case, Lunar Tides Amethyst seems to be the most cool that I currently have. On the end to the more warm ones, it kind of just left a pinky wash over the hair instead of taking out the yellow. And honestly, if you've ever used these to tone your hair, any of these, please feel free to comment your experience, even just putting these on your hair without diluting them. It's always really helpful for other people who want to dye their hair as well. I actually also had Lunar Tides Iris in the running as well, but after seeing them all together, I did take it out. So if you're wondering if Lunar Tides Iris is a pastel, I wouldn't quite say it is. It kind of teeters on the line, but I thought it was a little bit too dark for this video. But that could possibly be good if you have hair that doesn't take very well to color, semi-permanent color. Sometimes buying a color that is a little bit deeper can get you the look that you're looking for, but again, do it your strand test. Out of all of these, I would say the Arctic Fox Girls Night is the most pastel that I have. The Mystic Heather is an interesting one because in some ways it looks kind of dark, but it dilutes really fast, which tells me it's not a super pigmented color. So again, on some people's hair, it could probably look even more pastel than it looks on my swatch. So hopefully this was helpful just to kind of see everything next to each other, because I know I don't do full-on comparisons in my other videos. I usually only do a handful at a time. If you have any requests, I do have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do brands. I do not test on animals, but I also welcome video ideas as well. Thank you so very, 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 very much to my patrons, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.